Now, joining us via Skype is the spokesperson, Absalom Absalom. Good afternoon, sir, and thank you so much for joining us. Absalom, can you hear me? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, I can hear you.
All right. Now, what is the ministry's overall impression as the face-to-face classes resumed for grade 11 and 12 this morning?
All right. So this morning we saw over 49,000 learners, grade 11 and 12, return to schools. I think as a ministry, we are quite satisfied with the overall conditions at our schools, particularly for the schools that I've managed to visit in commerce this particular morning. But you would realize that conditions differ from school to school, as well as then the environment is not changes. But overall, I think we are quite satisfied with the conditions and measures put in place by both our learners and as well as the willingness to exercise these measures by our learners as well.
All right. Were there any specific problems reported to the ministry by school management?
As in for the overall challenges that schools have been experiencing today, we are yet to receive those. But perhaps personally, I have picked up a few of them. There were instances where a few of our teachers went quite leading on by an example. We realized that some of them didn't have their masks on. Other than that, I think the compliance was there for both our teachers and learners as well. So I think only minor issues that I picked up personally. But as for the actual report, we anticipate to get that from our regions, hopefully by the end of the day.
Okay, so, but then there has been reports that some schools in the north were not ready to receive learners this morning. Could you share some more details on that?
Yes. So I think the general stance is where, in instance where a school wasn't ready to receive learners due to particular issues such as perhaps they didn't receive their cleaning materials or perhaps the water wasn't taken care of, I had advised those schools to remain closed and attend to those matters and perhaps only open when they've attended to that. Our schools on the ground, we do not quite have the particular number of how many of our schools failed to open today. But so far, in general, we are quite satisfied with what has happened today. Other than just that, we received to also receive a detailed report from the number of schools which haven't quite reopened today. But in overall, I think we've hit the ground running. The learners are excited to have returned back to school. The same sentiment was shared by teachers as well. So we're quite happy, although perhaps we woke up quite nervous today, not knowing how necessarily the situation will unfold. But we are quite happy that the learners are back at home.
Absalom, some of our teams, one part of our team that visited certain schools here in Windhoek observed that certain teachers were not wearing masks this morning. What is your take on this?
Well, that's the instance that I've just referred to. I was fortunately with the team together, and as soon as we have spotted that, we quickly raised it up with the school management, who then proceeded to have an engagement with the teacher in question. That was the only incident that we have picked up in our tour around the commerce region, and that we had swiftly dealt with by engaging with the school management.
On that note, can you perhaps just reiterate or just remind the viewers, those who are watching, the teachers and the learners, on the measures that they should take when they are at the schools?
All right. So I think our general practice at schools shouldn't quite be any different to how we as citizens are expected to behave, be it in a public space. We are requested to adhere to the World Health Organization protocols in place. We are to keep our mask on at all times. It's mandatory for all of us in public spaces. We are to regularly wash our hands or sanitize them frequently, and we are to keep the social distancing as well. You'd realize that perhaps the issue of social distancing in our schools, some schools have moved to larger audience, to larger venues to accommodate them. For schools which do not have this, they've divided their classes into groups so that they can also exercise the social distancing in place. So I think the message from us would be no different to the message that has been being carried forth by the Ministry of Health as well as the World Health Organization. We ought to be compliant towards that, and we look forward to ending our academic year.
All right, Absalom, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Well, that was Absalom Absalom, the spokesperson of the Education Ministry, just giving us an insight on what exactly happened today when the students or the learners returned back to school.